Hello, drummers. How's it going? Welcome to this. Sorry, I need to not hit things when the talkback mic is on because it makes a terrible noise. Anyway, apologies for that. Welcome to this live stream lesson. This is free and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm just going to check momentarily that you guys are getting the right audio and the right video on my phone. Just give me 2 seconds. One, two, three. Yep, everything seems. Apologies for the delay there, folks. I was just checking that you're getting the right audio and the right video because I will definitely regret it if I do not check it. So anyway, let's get on with this week's lesson. This is a lick from one of my last videos, in fact, literally my last video, the FDT, which is short for Free Drumless Tracks. That's a friend of mine called Andre Forbes, makes great tracks for drummers. Check them out if you haven't already. But yeah, it was called Funking Fusion. And there's a lick that I play in there that I keep getting asked about. So I thought, yep, perfect candidate for today's live lesson. So anyway, let's play the lick so you can see what today's lesson is about. Okay, so that's the lick itself. So firstly, just before I get into the phonetics of how this lick is played, for those of you who are discerning here, you might have spotted some hertzes in there. But anyway, before I get into how that's played, let's talk about the context in which it appears in the song in which I played it. So it's kind of a part where we're coming from, say, the B section of the song, and we're going back to the A section of the song. In my humble opinion, I think the role of the drummer there is to kind of, there's a drum break, so I'm going to get in because there's a drum break that's going to feature me somewhat. But I think also more importantly, I need to cue the band in to the next section. So you'll see the kind of the construction of this fill today is pretty much literally that. I'm going to get in, show some ideas, but then I'm going to also cue the band back in, and then we're going to get back to the sort of A section or the head of the song. So yeah, let's look at how this lick is played first. So first off, it starts kind of on, I guess, beat 3 of the bar. So you could say that this is like a 1.5 bar fill idea. I quite like fills that start in the middle of the bar rather than at the beginning. I find it at the beginning, it's nice, but it can be a bit predictable sometimes. So first off, I'm coming out of a groove. So let's play that to begin with. I shall slow that down even more so you guys can get it. Even slower. Okay, so pay attention to the accents and ghost notes in this fill because I feel it's kind of what gives it its shape. But anyway, that's me kind of doing a groove, but sort of setting myself up to do a fill. That's a lick I use a lot, that thing I'm doing on the beat 2 there. So there's something really cool about that idea there. It gets you out of sort of crossed round grooving mode and into open-handed playing some fills mode. I find, yeah, it's a nice little idea for getting you from here to here kind of thing. Anyway, then here we go. There's going to be some hertzes coming up. So the hertzer, for those of you who are not rudimentally inclined, is just singles: right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. But obviously there's a rhythm to that there. If I just bust out my practice pad a second, because obviously I don't want to take you guys' head off with the talkback mic, but I would also like to talk over this idea. One second, just getting practice pad. Always carry one of these in your stick bag. You never know when you might need to warm up before a gig. But anyway, hopefully this won't take your head off. Let's see. Yeah, that's tolerable. Cool. So we're talking about right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And that's kind of a 3-beat thing, isn't it? Because there we're going 1 and 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3, or at least it would be if you were counting it as a 3 thing. So that's the Hertzer, the rudiment in question, which I'm using. Check out my website. There's like nearly 700, I think, rudiment patterns up there for you guys to try out and mess around with and see what cool stuff you can come up with on the drums. But yeah, the Hertzer is kind of a fairly well-known pattern. I have no idea what is an S in the pronunciation of its name, by the way, so perhaps someone can enlighten me there. This is kind of an American thing, but yeah, I've heard everyone I hear pronounces rhythm Hertzer, but then you look at the spelling and it says Hertha. There's no S in there. But yeah, I could be wrong. Anyway, so there's some Hertzers coming up on beat 3. Let's start with that. So we've got the idea we're coming out of a groove, 2 beats. One E and a 2 E and a. So now we need to get to beat 3. Beat 3 is going to go like this. I'm going to try and slow this down as much as I can because this is where the source in the fill is. Okay, so you can see there's a crossover in there as well. The reason I do a crossover there is because it makes the hi-hat choke land on a different part of the Hertzer to what it landed on the first time. So let's have a look at that. It's starting on a kick. Okay, so you can see the first hi-hat choke is landing on the left hand, but then the second one is landing on the right hand. And then I'm playing 2 floor toms just to make it finish the 4 that we're trying to do on this first bar of this lick. So that last 2 beats again, beat 3 and beat 4. Okay, and as shown in the rudimental pattern that I'm using, it's just right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Perhaps if I shout the sticking over the top of it. Forgive me, I'm kind of stuck with the EAD at the moment, whereas it's a great piece of kit, but unfortunately it's either in talkback mode or I need to make sure I get the 2 the right way around because I don't want to take anybody's head off today, especially people who are wearing headphones like I am at the moment. So anyway, the last 2 beats of it. Okay, so that's the first bar of the lick complete. Let's put them together. I'll play it slowly and then maybe at medium speed or something like that. So we're coming out of the groove. Beat 3, we're getting stuck into the Hertzers. And then there's going to be a second bar where, like I said in the beginning of the lesson, I'm going to try and endeavor to cue the band back in because that is our role as a drummer, especially like the style of music I was playing in the video in question is kind of gospel-y, fusion-y. And yeah, quite often it is the drummer's role to let people know what's happening. Excuse me, there's a little bit of background noise because there's some people outside the room. The bands today are finishing at 5 o'clock, which is why I decided to start at the time I did. But yeah, you might hear a little bit of background noise when I've got the talkback mic on. So the first bar played slowly. Let's get into that. Okay, even slower. Let's go like painfully slow. Last bit still feels a bit fast, so I'm going to go really, really, really slow. Okay, and yeah, you might notice from the last 3 lessons, I like fills that have hi-hat chokes in there. So the Aaron Spears fan in me, it does a lot of that. I think it sounds great. So there we have the first pattern. You guys are lucky I'm showing you this one today because this is one of my favorite licks. This is like one of my secret weapons, the way I'm using the Hertzer there and the way it lands on different hands. I think kind of disguises that it's a Hertzer in a way. At least like if I heard it, I'd be going, is that a Hertzer? The first one is, but I'm not sure about the second one kind of thing. Anyway, the second bar is simpler, unusually. And the reason, as I say, for that is because the particular part in the song that I played, this 2-bar phrase, the first bit was a drum break, so I wanted to play some ideas, but then the second bar, I'm kind of trying to cue the band back in and go, look, there's one, and there we are, we're back in the B section. I feel, yeah, a good drummer enables the band to hear when things are coming. So let's have a look at the second bar. So very simple, it's kind of just a sticking. There's a flam on the second note. Maybe if I deal with this in kind of 2 beat halves as well, that might work. Let's do that. So we've got first 2 beats. Yeah, so we're playing a flam on the tom there. It's kind of a right-handed flam, so like the emphasis is on the right hand, but I do kind of play them at the same time looking at the original video. So yeah, not so much foot lam, but more about same time with those first 2 notes. So let's look at the sticking of it. I'm going kick, flam, left, right, right, right. So I'm looking at some sheet music here to remind myself of what I played, because as mentioned in previous lessons, a lot of my fills are improvised. And when someone comes along and says, how did you play? Yeah, I've got to work it out as well. I can figure it out quite easily because obviously it came from my head. But yeah, as I'm improvising, I'm like, what was it I did again? It's kind of like trying to remember what you said 10 minutes ago, you know what I mean? Anyway, so the sticking, going kick, flam, left, right, right. I'm going to play again, but pay attention to the accent pattern. Check this out. You can see particularly not all of the snares am I playing at full pelt. The double strokes on the left hand are kind of coming out more like than with 2 big hits. Okay, so yeah, we're putting the emphasis in the right place on this fill, otherwise it's kind of one of those that sounds a bit too busy. We've spoken about this concept before, in that you can get away with busier fills if the emphasis is in the right place. We can't emphasize every note, because then of course it will sound busy. But if we emphasize it in the right places, it can kind of be busy but not sound like it is, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so now let's look at the second half of this pattern, and it's really just coming round the toms, 2 crashes at the end I played to get back to the 1, and now we're in the A section of the song, so to speak. So last 2 sections, we're going to kind of repeat what we did on beat 2. What I mean by repeat what we're doing on beat 2, we're playing a left-handed double stroke, but the second note is ghosted. Sorry everyone, that took my ears out as well. Talk like Mike woes. Anyway, so one more time. The sticking of that is left, right. It's all singles at the end, but it starts with 2 lefts. So let's go over that one more time. The last 2 beats of the entire fill. Okay, so now if I play the second bar of the fill, but nice and slowly so you guys can feel it, and then maybe if I join the 2 bars together, we're slowly putting it together basically. Anyway, second bar in its entirety, slowly. Even slower. Do that again because I clipped a rim on one of the ghost notes there. 1 second. Okay, so that's the second bar of the pattern. Now, perhaps if I play that as a medium speed, just so you can hear the flow of it. now you might start to, so now you might start to hear the difference that the ghost notes are making. If you can't, let me play it back to back. So no ghost notes, I'm just going to play every note the same volume. I guess the pattern's nice, but there's no shape to it for me. There's no flavour to it. It doesn't have a beginning, a middle, or an end. It's just da 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 da. There's the crash. And if I'm a fellow band member playing along with that, if I've lost the beat because of something you played, I'm never going to find it again. And that's obviously not fair to make other musicians feel like that. It's not easy to get a call back if you make other musicians feel like that. So yeah, now let's play it with the ghost notes intact. You can hear, yeah, now it's, in my opinion, it's got a bit of a shape to it, a bit more so than it had when I played all the notes at full volume kind of thing. So the accent pattern is kind of going like this. If I just played the accent pattern, say with the kick and the snare, because it was the first note. So we've got 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 and obviously all the last notes are accented because I'm trying to sort of end the fill out kind of thing. So yeah, it's on the E of beat 1, 2, and the and 4. Yeah. So once again. That's the accent pattern. See if you can hear that now when I add the ghost notes in it. That's the notes I'm trying to emphasize, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so you can hear, yeah, even though it is a 16th note fill idea, I'm not accenting every 16th note, sorry, and that seems to make it sound less busy, or at least show you where the emphasis is, so you're kind of expecting that crash to land on the one at the end. I think that's good to be able to cue the band in. They should expect the boom crash, and they know exactly where the one is and where the start of the bar of the next thing is. And it kind of means that I can get away with some perhaps crazy licks in the first bar, you see, because I'm kind of simplifying it on the second bar and cueing everyone in. So now I need to play the whole lick together, don't I? So let's put it together. I'll go like kind of a medium speed, and I will slow it down as far as I can. Okay, so that's the entire lick, and obviously I'm on beat 1 of the next bar there. But then let's really slow that down as far as I can. Even slower, like painfully slower. Let's see if we can do that. There you go. Forgive me if I'm playing a little bit deliberately there, but I'm sort of trying to show you hit where I'm playing, what I'm playing, which hand it is. I'm trying to make things clear as they convey over the video. So that's the full lick. Maybe if I speed it up a little bit now. Anyone saying I'm not playing it slow enough? Things sound like faster in my head than they actually are a lot of the time. So I think, yeah, I'm playing it slower, and yeah, listen back to it and it's still quite fast. Let's go really, really slowly before I start speeding things up then. I don't know if I can play it any slower. The temptation to speed up that second bar there was real. Anyway, so there you have it, the entire lick. The way we're using the Hertzer there, I think, is quite interesting, and that we've got the crossover. It looks kind of cool as well, I suppose. It has an added bonus. So the one thing I should point out is that in the video in question that I mentioned at the start of the video and that we keep referencing, because that's where this fill came from, I had a middle tom. So I've moved, I think, where does it happen? It's on the under of beat 2. The front tom that I'm playing as a double stroke was actually a middle tom. So, for example, if I play the lick one more time, just so that you guys can see where the middle tom fits if you have got a 5-piece kit in front of you. I thought I'd travel light today and just bring my little gigging kit with me. I'll go through the stuff perhaps at the end of the lesson. But anyway, the part where there is a middle tom, let's show you that. Second bar of the lick, I'm starting from here. That one was in fact played as a middle tom, but of course, yeah, I've only got 2 tom options today. I kind of prefer 2 toms. I don't know about everybody else out there. How many toms do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm a 2 toms kind of guy. It's nice to have the full rig. You've seen in my videos, I can play anything from like 5 toms down to 2. But yeah, if I had to state my preference, I think it's 2, you know. But anyway, we've played the lick all the way through. Yeah, and I said I was going to speed it up a little bit now. So let's see how that sounds. This is kind of the tempo that I played it at in the drum. Okay, let's play a little bit faster, maybe. Can I play a bit faster? Let's find out. I think that stuff going on the floor tom sounds pretty thunderous. I'm a big fan of sort of Hertzer licks on the floor tom, and as I say, a big fan of hi-hat chokes as well. So the stuff that's going on at the end of the first bar is kind of one of my secret weapons. So yeah, nice to show you this one today, but don't show it to too many people. I'm kidding, but anyway. What have we left to do? So I guess let's look at some variations as we normally do in these lessons. I think I've broken down the pattern enough. Feel free to ask in the comments if you'd like to hear the lick played again slower. I also have, you probably noticed next to me here, I also have it written down just to make sure I don't deviate and start playing other things. You probably noticed in my previous lessons, I like to improvise, and I'm trying to show you a thing. I end up showing you a different thing, and that was not intended. So I've got it written down. Anyone who wants me to send you that, please email me, lewis@ninjadrummist.com. Send me an email and I'll happily send you a little PDF with the sheet music of today's idea. Because, of course, we're teaching it for free on the internet. Why not? If it helps somebody, that's good, isn't it? So variations. First one I thought of today before I even started playing or before I even set up the kit was a good sort of, some people don't like the footwork of the hi-hat choke. For example, if I play the last 2 beats of the first bar. Go there. Sorry. Hi-hat bass twice in there. Some people just don't like the left footwork that comes with obviously doing a hi-hat choke. I think, yeah, you kind of do have to choke it, because if I don't, yeah, it kind of needs choking to kind of preserve the funkiness, I suppose, of that part of the lick. But yeah, like I say, some people don't like the footwork of that. So I think an obvious substitute for the hi-hat chokes would be a stack, or maybe a splash, or maybe some other cymbal sound. So I'm going to play the same pattern, but I'm going to swap it out for this right stack here. You might be able to notice this. The reason I'm doing this one as well, you might notice more the stick in this side. I think when people start crossing over, you kind of go, what's the stick in there? It kind of blurs the lines, doesn't it? But if I play it here, you'll be able to see very well which hand is playing the stack. As I say, they swap around on the first Hertzer to what they are on the second Hertzer. So yeah, let me show you what I mean. And then let's slow that down a bit more, because, as I say, I want you guys to see how the sticking is actually working on the end of the first bar. So really slowly, same pattern, but I'm using the stack instead of the hi-hat. The sticking remains the same. I'm just moving where it is all. So Even slower, same idea. Painfully slower, still not sure if that's slow enough, so yeah, let me slow down even more. Okay, so that's moving it to the stack, but some of you might not have a stack, or you might have a splash symbol. That kind of gets interesting moving this way. Do you know what I've noticed? People who are left-handed don't mind doing this over this right side of the kit. People who are right-handed, it appears to be an effort for some reason, or at least it was for me anyway. But yeah, I'm going to show you the same pattern where I go for the splash symbol instead. You may have a splash symbol exactly where I have one right in the middle just there. So you can see it's kind of fairly, the notes that I'm playing on the hi-hat chokes are kind of fairly interchangeable for any other part of it. There was another variation I thought on that, which is where you can kind of use the stack and the thing. It supports the lick a little bit better because you're playing one on the left side, one on the right side, and yeah, that's actually where they are, the way I have the kit set up today. So I'm sure what I mean by that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to play the last two beats of the first bar because I realise I don't really need to show you the whole pattern just to change that part of it. So the last two beats, but using the stack and the splash. Okay, a bit fast. Yeah, and then in context with the rest of the lick. Okay. Does it work with crashes? Let's find out. I think I'm kind of sticking to smaller or chokeable cymbals because, yeah, to me, those are short notes there, but do they work as long notes with crashes? I don't know. Let's find out. Sounds okay to me. So yeah, you can even put it on two crashes there. Let me show you that idea a bit slower just so you can see where I'm placing the crash notes. Again, I'm just going to play the last two beats of the first bar of the lick. Okay, the last thing I can think of, we could probably even go for the bell of the ride symbol. Let's try that. Oops, sorry, gone with the ride there. It's a bit of a small target, but yeah, it can be done, kind of thing. So I suppose that would depend upon the speed that you're playing at. There might be a speed where getting over there is a little bit tricky. But there you go, you have the entire lick. You have a few variations on where we can move the hi-hat choke. But then let's say we take parts of this fill, because I'm aware that, yeah, 2-bar fill is quite long. Well, 1.5 technically. Anyway, 2-bar fill is quite long. Let's say if I just want to take the first bar. Sorry, terrible example there. That's why I've got the sheet music here. I'm forgetting how to play my own lick. And as soon as I'd sorted out the little brain fart there, I was able to demonstrate that, yes, we can just play that first part of the lick and it makes a nice fill in of itself. What about the second part of the lick? That'd probably make a better fill, in my opinion, because you're kind of cueing the band in, like I say. So just a second bar. Yeah, that works as a fill idea on its own as well. So you can take little parts of this fill and use them in your own playing, or you can just take the first bar where it's a bit busy, or you might say I prefer the second bar because the band know what they're doing with that one. And let's say we take just the last two beats. As you can see, that could be repeated to become a longer fill idea. Let me show you what I did there. I basically played it twice. Okay, so yeah, we're moving the pattern, changing the pattern, taking different bits of the pattern, putting it together with other different bits of pattern. If you come up with another variation on this, please send it to me, or a video of yourself playing it. I like seeing people messing around with my ideas and coming up with something new. That's how I learn something. And as I go, oh, well, I never thought about it playing it like that. That's nice. So yeah, please feel free to send me your ideas with this pattern. Like I say, we can take any bit of it. Let's just take the first part of the second bar. So that's the bit where we go. Bit slow. Now I've got a choice there. I could keep it the way it was, where I land on a double stroke and play the crash on my left, but some people are not comfortable with the idea of a crash on the left. They would prefer it to be on the right. So what if I take that right and turn it into a right left? So it comes out like, instead of double stroke at the end, it comes out like this with a single stroke at the end, but obviously in the same place. And I could land on a right-handed crash. So let's try that in context. And then kind of to give it more of an ending, because as I say, I always think Phil should cue in the next thing. There's something about toms coming down in pitch that lets people know I'm coming to the end of my idea. Sometimes if you go up in pitch on the toms, it can make it sound like the idea will never end. Whereas if you come down and then hit a crash at the end, yeah, everyone's heard a drummer do that, I think, enough times to know what that means, kind of thing. So let's say instead of playing those last two notes up here, I'll lower the pitch and play them down here on the floor tom, and then we'll get more of a complete idea. So as I say, this is just the first two beats of the second bar. I'm going like this. And in context with kind of a groove. Okay, so that's another way that we can use parts of this fill. Just take which bits you like and move them around. I guess there's one part of the fill. Like I'm kind of not including the first two beats of the first bar because, like I said at the very beginning of the lesson, that's just kind of me coming out of a groove and starting the fill on the beat 3 of that bar. The only other part of the fill that there could be some nice source in is I haven't really done the last two beats of the second bar. Let's do that. So that's the part where we go. Bit slower. Now again, I edited the previous two bars just to make them sound more musical or support the idea that I was trying to achieve with them. I'm going to change that a little bit as well. And then you notice that's starting on two lefts. The reason for that is because what happens before it in the full pattern, but I'm not playing the full pattern, so that's not really an issue there. So instead of two lefts, I think I'm just going to make it two rights, and now we've got a single stroke lick, but I'm going to keep the accent pattern like this. So you can see, yeah, there's one ghost note in on the second note. Accent, ghost note, accent, and everything else after that is accented. Did I play that slowly enough? Even. Okay, so now let's put down the context of the groove. The last two beats, slightly edited, of the second bar. Yeah, that's probably the simplest idea we've looked at so far in today's lesson. So you get the idea there. We can use the whole 2-bar phrase from this pattern. We can just nick little bits of it. But I also think the concept is interesting. I think that's why I chose this idea today, and that where it comes, as I say, in the song is an interesting thing, that I'm doing a drum break, but then it's coming back to the A section of the song, and I kind of feel it's the drummer's role to get everybody there, or to at least let everybody know that we're going there. So yeah, that's kind of what this fills the purpose. Does it need to be fast? Okay, so I'm going to play it like at a medium speed, because I always think people think that like complicated or interesting sounding fills like this need to have speed behind them. Not really. If it's an interesting sounding idea, I'm not saying that this is amazing, but if it's interesting enough, it should sound good at any tempo. Let's try it like a medium tempo, so like almost half what I would play it at in the track that we were talking about at the beginning of today's lesson. Yeah, I think it still sounds good at that tempo. Could I play it on like a ballad? I don't know. I think it might be a bit busy for a ballad. You might get fired for playing this on a ballad. But let's see if it works. You can do it, but I'm not sure if that's if that's the most musical or band member friendly thing to do when we're trying to do a ballad. I always like to paint the scene in a ballad when I'm teaching it to students, that the singer is trying to make those who are romantically inclined in the audience go, oh, "What a beautiful song!" like that. And what it doesn't need is the drummer in the background going and scaring all those romantically inclined people away. Okay, so yeah, I think on a ballad it might sound a little bit out of place, but yeah, certainly on a medium to fast tempo song, this would be a nice lick to throw in there. So let's look at flams just for a second, because there's a flam on the second bar here. Let's just look at the second bar. On the track in question that we've been talking about throughout this lesson, I play the flam on the snare and the front tom, and I play them at pretty much the same time. I've kind of slowed it down, as I say, because I had to work out what exactly I was playing and make sure it was correct. But yeah, I play them pretty much at the same time. But if I listen to the second bar of this fill, it kind of sounds like the Latin in me. I love Latin music. It's drummers' music, isn't it? Like there's some fantastic drummers in Latin America. If you haven't checked those out, yeah, I highly recommend checking them out. They're all built like octopuses as well. They can play like 8 or 9 things at the same time, or at least that's what it sounds like to me anyway. But yeah, that's the Latin in me, and the Latin guys sort of like that flam sound, for example. That's a very, to me, Latin way of playing a fill, where we're kind of getting that kind of slappy sounding flam out of it. So like I was saying earlier, I play the flam at the same time, like this. But if you want it to sound more Latin, kind of open the flam a little bit. What I mean by that, instead of the flam sounding like this, make it sound more like this. So you can see what I mean by opening it out is the 2 notes of the flam are being opened out a bit further apart. Okay, and yeah, if I do that, it seems to sound more Latin. So at the same time, with a bit more Latin flavour, with the flam a bit further apart. You hear what I mean? think there's a difference between those two things. So if you want it to sound a little bit more Latin flavour, open that flam out. It's kind of played a flam a little bit sloppier, so in any sense, it's easier than playing the flam bang on in a lot of ways. What else could we talk about with this lick? I think we're kind of done with this lick unless we start developing it somewhat. So let's talk about how we develop fills like this. I always get asked, how did you come up with that? It's fair enough you teaching me this one, but I'd like to be able to think of fills like that as well. I was you once. Don't worry, man. We're going to hopefully help you out today. So a lot of it comes from experimentation. I think like that the way I'm playing the Hertz today, I think I just did that by accident one day. I was in practice room and went. And it was the crossover that kind of, you ever get that when you're in the practice room and you sort of play, oh, what was that? That was really nice. I like to work these out and kind of develop them, trying to take them further. So I think, yeah, I just went like that one day randomly. And I think like the original way I used to use this pattern would be just to, that sort of thing, just up in. I like the sound of the two extremes of the kit. If you think like the floor tom's about as far as you would go this way, and the hi-hat's about as far as you would go this way. For some reason, the sound of those two extremes of the kit being played together just sounds awesome to me. And yeah, it's good in licks like this one where you got the Hertz leading to the hi-hat, chokes this way or this way with a crossover kind of thing. But then developing this second half, I think is more, I'm thinking Latin on that first half. But then to me, the second half is coming out more like just a standard rock and roll fill. Yeah, it's definitely not the first time you've heard someone do that on the drums, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's where we're coming from with this lick. You kind of mess around with rudiments and you find different ways of playing them. Let me give you an idea. If I play some Hertzes and just move some notes around. That floor tom was a challenge, though. Let's see if we do that. Yeah, you've got to be able to move quickly for that one. But as you can see, there's lots of different interesting ways of moving the Hertz around. I was just literally trying to make it up on the spot there and come up with a different one every time, move it around kind of thing. Messing around with rudiments like that is something I really advise you do. Just mess around. It doesn't matter if it doesn't sound good. We're in the practice room. We're not on the gig. So the obvious way to use a Hertz would be like that. That's often the context that you hear the Hertz are being played in. But then you think it's those two single strokes, isn't it? Sorry, what I mean by single strokes is the two slower notes in the Hertz pattern. You'll find those two notes are kind of easy to place anywhere. Perhaps the 2 30-second notes, or yeah, they are 30-second notes in the context of this film. The 2 30-second notes are a little bit harder to move. So like, for example, that kind of lick I would say is a bit harder to play than perhaps where I'm playing the two up there and the two slower ones down here. You see what I mean? The two slower notes you can kind of move wherever you are. That's what's happening in this pattern as well. If I take the last two beats of the first bar. We think of the Hertz as a 3 thing. 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2. See, forward to complete the pattern. So you can see, yeah, on the 1 and 2, 3, right, left. The first hi-hat choke lands on 3. 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2. So the second one lands on 2. So yeah, because we're moving, there's 2 notes, and depending on which one I move, will give me different results, sort of thing. So I think, yeah, that's how I improvise fills like that. I've already shown you that way of getting out of a groove is something I use a lot. It's mainly what I'm doing on beat 2 there, where I'm those 2 single strokes at the end just seem to set up any field. Let's give you a few examples. So you can see, yeah, a bunch of different fills there, but they're all set up with and those two single strokes at the end. I find is a really nice kind of launching pad to launch yourself into the rest of the fill. It's probably why I started it like that, to be honest. I mean, like I say, I was improvising on the spot, but probably the reason I started like that is I wanted that safe ground to be able to get into that Hertz lick on the third and fourth beats. And then I'm kind of home free after that. I'm just cueing the band in. And to me, that second bar feels a lot simpler than the first bar, perhaps. So yeah, all together. It seems to make a nice lick. I get in when I need to, and it comes out when it needs to, and lets the band know, more importantly, that I'm going to do that. I think that's probably the most important thing going on there, really. So I think, yeah, we're kind of about wrapped up here. I can't think of any other meaningful variations on this lick. I could think of a few, but they're just going to be variations on a theme, I think, to be honest. Actually, I mean, what happens if I don't move the Hertz at all? What happens if I just keep it on the floor, Tom? Trying to think of people with not massive drum kits where you might just have a stripped down thing at home. So, yeah. So it took me a moment to work that out, but yeah, that works as well. I was trying to work out where I put the last two notes there. It works when it's a crossover because I know when I'm landing on the hi-hat kind of thing, but yeah, when it moved it to the floor tom. Wasn't sure what was going on there at first, but yeah, it does work like that. I mean, you could use both toms. Moving the sticking of the Hertz, first one here, second one obviously here. If I slow that down just for people who don't know what I mean by that. Yep, that works as well. So you haven't got stacks, you haven't got splashes, or you don't like hi-hat chokes. Yeah, you can play it on a four-piece kit with just the two toms there, and that'll work nicely as well. As I say, please feel free to show me any variations that you come up with on this pattern. It's a fairly advanced one, but hopefully I've slowed it down slow enough that everybody can get it and do something with it. Anyway, if you're looking for online lessons, this is what I do. This is my setup at Sound Arc Studios. There's a special one today, actually. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the lesson. But tomorrow, I think, commemorates 5 years that I've been teaching here. I've been teaching 22 years altogether. Don't let the young face fool you. I'm 39 this year. But yeah, 22 years of teaching, but thankfully 5 of them have been spent at this lovely place. This is a godsend, it really is. It's a local rehearsal spot, come recording studio. You notice all my YouTube videos are recorded in these rooms. You might recognize the blue baffles and things like that. And yeah, I do a lot of teaching from out here. I kind of use it during the day when the bands aren't using it. And I teach online a fair amount these days as well. Kind of lockdown forced us to all change our setups, I suppose, because everything was done online. But I've kind of kept it going because it means I can teach people who don't live locally to me. And that's been kind of cool to teach people all over the world. If you're interested in that, drum lessons cost £30 an hour, basically. No need to sign up for a course or anything like that. It's just pay as you go. Let me know when you want a lesson. Obviously, my schedule permitting, and we shall book you in and we can meet this way. A lot of people think they need a setup at their end. Basically, all I need is to be able to hear you. So most of my pupils who do the online lessons, they're just using a phone, some sort of headset so that they can hear me. And I really don't mind if you've got a full drum kit or an electric drum kit or even just a practice pad at home. That's cool, man. We can do lessons this way. All of my students have different setups, but yeah, I find as long as they've got those three things, a phone, some means of hearing me, and something to play on, we're all good. So yeah, let us know if you'd be interested in private one-on-one digital online type virtual lessons, and we can study many more licks like this. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next lesson. I'm kind of conscious of the fact that all we're doing really is showing you like a little short lick, maybe one that comes from one of my videos, maybe one that comes from somewhere else. But yeah, I'd quite like to get more involved in, say, the technique kind of stuff. So if you guys would like to see any of that, please let me know in the comments. Basically, yeah, things you'd like to see more of, other than just here's a lick and here's a few variations and here's me breaking it down and then kind of end the lesson. You know what I mean? Well, we could do a little bit more than that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I think there's nothing left to do but to thank you guys for watching. And yeah, thanks to my pupils out there for continuing to employ me throughout these last 5 years here at Sound Doc. I think we've fallen on our feet here because it's a very nice place, very clean. The equipment's lovely. This is my kit today. Oh, I did say I was going to go through the setup, didn't I? So kind of similar to the setup I used last time. I think slightly less cymbals. So yeah, what you're hearing is this here device, the lovely Yamaha EAD. I've got, like, as I say, the talkback setting, but we've also, I just put my sticks away in the stick bag, but yeah, we've got the drum setting as well. Fantastic bit of kit. So that's what's broadcasting to you. That's going into the back of a Zoom camera. The Zoom cameras are fantastic, but I find the microphones, they're all right for drums, but they can clip a little bit and it sounds a bit boxy, the room and stuff. The EAD is obviously just sounds fantastic. So I've got two jack leads coming out of the outputs of the EAD into the back of the camera. And then that's going into my laptop, and that's how come you guys can see and hear me today. But then drum kit, what we've got here. So this is my Tama Silver Star setup. This is the kit I use for gigging, because my Star Classic that you see in my other videos is a bit too nice to be taken on the road, to say the least. So yeah, and I kind of wanted something smaller, lighter, easier to travel around with, and a bit cheaper as well, for that matter. So we've got, yes, Tama Silver Star all birch drum kit in transparent blue burst. You might notice there's a kind of blue theme going on here. But yeah, it's an 18 by 14, I think it is, kick, 10 by 7 rack tom, and then a 14 by 14 floor tom. Heads wise, there's an EMAD on the kick, and these are the hydraulics that I've been trying out. I quite like these on my live kit. So yeah, in the studio, the hydraulics can sound a little bit too dead, I think. I usually go for the EC2s or something like that in there. But for live stuff, the hydraulics are just that amount of shut off that you kind of want. And I find my toms aren't dominating. I can lay into them a little bit more without it bothering anybody or anything like that. This snare, we have to talk about this snare. This snare is the Tama SLP G Maple 13 by 7. This thing takes people's heads off, man. It's a weapon. It's 20 plies of maple as well. It's quite a thick shell on it, and it's got the Tamo ash finish on the outside. Heads wise, this is the Evans hybrid head. You got to check these out, man. They're expensive. This was in English money, this is about £60 a head. But if I don't get, well, normally I'd be changing my head about every 6 months, mainly for studio purposes. It's, you know, if I was just gigging with it, I probably wouldn't care. But when the microphone's here in the studio, it hears things that you don't, especially dead sounding heads. This head has been on here for, well, since I got the drum, which is about 4 years ago, I think now. And this is just indestructible. It's not a marching head. I've heard a few people say, oh, it's a marching head. It's not, but it's based on one, basically. And I think, yeah, it's obviously a thinner version that doesn't rip the lugs off of a regular drum kit acoustic shell. And then, yeah, everyone always asks about these. These are the tuna fish lug locks and how they work. This is one of my favorite endorsements. I love this product. I think it's excellent. You see they're on all of my drums and videos and things like that. But this little fish here has a hole in the bottom of it that fits on your tension rod, and it stops your snare or whatever drum going out of tune. The fish's tail there stops it from turning around any further. And yeah, I probably tuned this snare, I think, about a year ago, and it just, because it hasn't moved, it still sounds great. So that's the drums. Yeah, everything's Tama, so Tama hardware, Tama Iron Cobra pedals. Let's look at these cymbals, because these are some beautiful instruments from Meinl here. So we've got the Meinl Byzance 13-inch fast hats over here. I like these because they're really quick. They've got holes in the edges, tiny little holes. But I think the design of that is to let the air out so that they sound even quicker when they're closed. Let me get a stick so you can hear that. I hate hi-hats that sound open when you've got them closed. Some bigger hi-hats, some other hi-hat models can sound like they're still open when they're not. But yeah, when these are closed, you know when they're closed and when they're open, basically. And then we've got the 18-inch Byzance dual trash crash. I'm really excited that they've expanded the trash crash range at Meinl. I like cymbals with holes in them, in case you haven't been able to tell. And yeah, this trash crash sounds amazing. Let's give you a little sound of that. Really explosive, really quick. And then this is, you see this cymbal in a lot of my setups. This is the 10-inch vintage Byzance trash splash. Let's see that one. Again, very quick, gets out of the way nice and easy. This ride, we need to talk about this ride. This is the vintage pure 20-inch. I think it's the normal one. It's not the light ride. I wasn't too keen on the light ride. I preferred this one. But yeah, great cymbal. The main deciding factor on this one was the bell. So if I show you a little few of the sounds we can get out of this. As you can hear from when I just put the talkback mic on a little too early there, that bell is killer. And then everyone knows who watches my videos or social media, this is my favourite Meinl cymbal. This is a 20-inch extra dry thin crash. And it just suits my playing so well. I've kind of learned about my playing since moving to Meinl. I'm kind of soft on the left side, very heavy on the right side. Whichever cymbal is over this side needs to be man enough to take the beating that it gets. But yeah, this one is just like an explosion going off, basically, this crash. It can do quiet as well. Let's maybe go through the range. Just really angry, nasty sounding cymbal. And then the stack we use today, I use a few different stacks, different combinations. I'm always trying them out. I like stacks as well as I like cymbals with holes in them. But anyway, this particular stack is a 12-inch, Classics Custom Dark. I like the dark cymbals, so I use those on my teaching setup, the Classic Custom Dark cymbals. But yeah, these are the Classic Custom Dark Trash Stack, and it's the 12-inch version. And it's nice and quick. You can use it as like a snare accent, like this. So yeah, in place of your main snare. And get that kind of electronic stack sound. Hi-hat's nice as well. Yeah, so that's a really nice cymbal too. That's all of the setup. I don't think you guys are interested what laptop I'm using today. it's old and rubbish, so I wouldn't be concerned with that. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in today, guys. Thank you for checking out this lick. As I say, please feel free to show me your own variations on it. I also have sheet music here for those who read. So if you'd like to see the sheet music, please just email me and I'll send you the PDF copy of that. And yeah, I think there's nothing left to do but to say yeah, thank you and signed off. I'm not sure we're going to do the next one of these, but hopefully it'll be soonish. It's kind of working out every few months or so with my already busy schedule. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Hope you guys learned something. Feel free to sign up to private lessons with me if you're so inclined. I say sign up is just literally book a lesson and we'll have a lesson. And then when you want the next one, book another one and we'll have another lesson kind of thing. Yeah, thanks again. And we'll see you on the next one of these. Thanks. Bye-bye.